السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. Of the Sunan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His beloved messengers and beloved servants, that He in their own ways subjects them to bast and to qabr. He subjects them to expansion and to constriction. He subjects them, in other words, to gifts and ease and special treatment, and He subjects them to hardship and difficulties, emotional and psychological and physical and social and of all sorts. And that is His way with His most elect even of servants subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He bestows upon them sometimes of very special gifts from His divine merciful treasures, and sometimes He subjects them to the trials and tribulations at the levels I have mentioned more than any other human being. And they are like anyone else, helpless. But they strive. They continue always to show their loving devotion to Allah Azza wa Jal and their unequivocal obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So keep that in mind. Allah Azza wa Jal does not treat even His best of creation always in the same way. He subjects them to vicissitudes, to changes, to harshness, to difficulty, and tribulations, and to ease and special spiritual gifts and treatments also, by which they can also assert to those whom they are inviting to God, they can assert that they are indeed sent by Allah Azza wa Jal. So here's an example of expansion, of bast. As the companions relate through what Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim both related, they were on a journey together with Rasulullah in an expedition, many of them, in that safar, in that trip, that journey. And lo and behold, they soon were out of water, almost out of water. And they continued, and they were extremely thirsty. They stopped. Rasulullah said this to them. He sent two companions. Some texts teach that it was Sayyiduna Ali and Sayyiduna Zubayr, radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma wa radahuma. He sent them and he said, go to a place, to that place. You will, this is fadl min Allah, this is the barakat, the gifts of Allah, the knowledge of the beyond, the nur in His heart to see that which is beyond, with which to see that which is beyond. So He says to them, go to that place, you will find an old woman. She has a camel. The camel is carrying two containers, two skins, qirab, two, you know what I mean, jars of skins of goat or of camel that contain water, muzadatan. Bring her to me. SubhanAllah, they go, they travel. On the whole, there is an old woman with a camel, on top of which there are those two muzadatan, those two skins that contained water. They said to her, Ajibi Rasulullah. In other words, we are the messengers of Rasulullah ﷺ, respond to his call. She said, who is this one? Do you mean that Sabi'i? In those days, they used to call those who followed Rasulullah ﷺ Sabi'. In other words, the one who forsook the religion of his forefathers at that time in Jahiliyyah time, the religion of idolatry. They said, yes, that's the one whom you mean, and he is Rasulullah, and he is the messenger of Allah. Follow us. So she goes. They arrive. First of all, this is what already? This is ikrab from Allah to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who illuminated his heart to see beyond and to see through distance and time that there is such a woman with those two muzadatan. That's number one. That in itself, that's a karama from Allah to Rasulullah. That's a spiritual gift. That's, in the language of modern times, here they call it a miracle. So they bring her to him, and he said, take the muzadatan, take those two skins, empty some water from them into this small container. So they did put some water, because they had no water at all. They put some water there, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam put his noble hand in the water and said few words in that water. Prayers, that is, dhikr in that water. And then he said, put back the water into the two skins. They did. And then all the expedition, every man in the expedition, whatever container he had, filled his container. Each one filled their containers from the water that was in those two finite small muzadatan. They were pouring, and the water seemed never to end, until everyone filled whatever jar or vessel they had with them. And then they gave her the muzadatan back, filled. They were filled. And then Rasulullah said, take back your skins. We did not use any of your water. Allah gave us water. God gave us water. Go back. And before she went back, I'm sorry, he requested that a cloth of hers be laid on the floor, and everyone put something on that cloth as a recompense. Something. Food, fruit, whatever they could put in there, and it was filled up, and he gave it to her along with her two skins and said, now go back. Allah gave us water. We did not use any of yours. Thank you. She goes back to her people and she said, people, I have met one who is either the greatest of Sahara or Rasulullah, or that he is indeed Rasulullah. And she told them what happened. And they, all the tribe, came to Rasulullah and declared their shahada and said, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. This is a way of qabl or bast in Allah's relationship with His Rasul. Is this a way of qabl, constriction, or bast, or giving an expansion? This is expansion, giving. These are karamat from Allah to His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to emphasize His prophethood sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to help those who hear and know, to help them decide to follow the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and for us to even love him more and be attached to him more and know his specialness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is expansion. But sometimes he subjects him to qabr. and he goes through the challenges always on account of what he has of faculties that Allah gave him without supernatural, without miraculous intervention from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he lets him go through the trials and tribulations that he goes through, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But he always went through those when that occurred with conviction, with yaqeen, with certitude. He doesn't ask from Allah, Ya Allah, do to me what you did to me on that occasion. Whatever Allah gives him, he takes it and accepts it. If it is a miracle, he accepts it. If it is trial, he accepts it with the same mind, with the same heart, with the same yaqeen, with the same certitude, with the same obedience, with the same love, with the same humility, with the same humbleness, with the same courage, with the same conviction. He does not oscillate. When he's given, he's happy, and when he's tried, he's angry, like many of us do. Some of us know God and love God only when we have. Only when we have. But when He withholds from us on account of His divine infinite wisdom, we say, why me? And some even go to the extent, there is no God. Because the person puts herself or himself as the center of everything. If that person is not given what he or she desires, then there is nothing else that exists, not even God. Because he didn't pay attention to me. SubhanAllah. And look at Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whether he is given or whether he is not given. He's the same abd of Allah Azza wa Jal. Lovingly servant of Allah Azza wa Jal. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us that yaqeen, that certitude. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us with that the attitude of the beautiful conduct of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And may Allah fill our hearts with love for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and reverence for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and love and reverence in the ultimate way for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.